Hello and welcome to the Stamp Camp. I'm Glenda Calkins, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today is another One Sheet Wonder Day, and I am going to be using the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper with the coordinating Flowering Tulips stamp set. We are going to create 7 cards out of one 12 by 12 sheet. Let's change the camera and get started. All right, so we are going to be using the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper. It's from the new mini catalog. Gorgeous prints, and they're tulips on one side, and then the other side, well, this is the print we're going to use today. It's got kind of like orange and white and kind of yellowish tulips. This one is just gorgeous. You can use any of the prints in this pack for the cards that I'm going to show you today. Love this pack. This is the print we're going to be using. Now I paired it with the Evening Evergreen white. That's pumpkin pie, and then I thought inside the pumpkin pie that kind of looked like a little pale papaya there, so I did go with a little pale papaya. It doesn't say it on the board that comes with your paper prints. It gives you all the colors that coordinate with it, but I thought the pale papaya went really nice. It's got that lighter shade of orange in there. So this is the print we're going to use. We are going to be using the Flowering Tulips stamp set. We are going to be using the circles dies. I'm going to use one of the dies out of this Tasteful Labels dies, and then we're also going to be using the stitched rectangle dies. So lots of dies today, but we need those stitched rectangles because we are going to be creating the triple time technique. And if this is new to you, tune in. Now, triple time is usually a stamping technique, but you can do the same technique with Designer Series paper. So let me bring my paper back in here. We're going to cut this up. Easy cutting. And then we're going to create the cards. We will create 7 cards. So because my print is kind of directional, I'm going to start out with the flowers like this. So the print is like showing the right size to you. And I'm going to start my first strip that I'm going to cut is at 5 inches. So we're going to go 5. Make sure I'm doing this right. Yes. 5 by 12. That's my first strip. The second strip is going to be 3 3/4 by 12. Which leaves this last strip around 3 1/4. Perfect. So I'm going to take the last strip and put it at 5 1/4. At 5 1/4. And then this little strip, I think, if I remember right, is at 1 1/2. So this is going to be one card. And this is going to be one card. Now we're going to take that second strip that was 3 3/4, and we're going to cut that to 5, and then at 5 again, and this is going to be left for another card. And then we're going to go back to our first strip, which was 5 by 12. We're going to turn that, and we're going to cut that at 3 3/4. 3 3/4 and 3 3/4. All right, so there's all our cutting. Super easy. So we're going to start with those 2 first pieces. The first panel that was 5 by 12. We got 5 by 3 3/4. We're going to take those 2. Let's see, I'm going to push these off to the side. And we are going to be doing the triple time technique with these 2. So you are going to need the 3rd and the 5th from the largest rectangle dies. And then I took painter's tape and I taped my dies together so they wouldn't move. They would be the same. And then you just want to center them over your Designer Series paper. So we're going to be using the cut and emboss machine for a few of these projects. So I'm going to bring that in. So let me change. All right, because I'm going to stand up to do this. It's much easier for me to stand when using the cut and emboss. So I'm going to put my plates on there. I'm going to put my card designer series paper with my framelit. Now I'm trying to get that framelit centered on there. Feel free to use some painter's tape. Normally I would do this ahead of time, but when it's a one sheet wonder and I have to cut it and do it, hopefully, did that move? We're gonna go with it. I think it's okay. Try not to move the camera so much. So because it is a little bit to get this out of here, you're going to take your U-pick tool, and you want the side with like the spatula. And I find it easier kind of to go around the edge, so your pieces will just pop out. And you can flip it over if it's easier to go from the other side. Let me see if I can get in here. The goal is to not rip your designer series paper. There we go. Now, that's the only drawback to having that painter's tape on there. Kind of got to get your edges going, and then you can come in with your painter's tape, or with your little spatula, and loosen that up. All right, so we're going to assemble that all back together, but because I'm going to do 3 cards like that, I'm going to do this part first. So we're going to bring this in, and we're going to run these all through. So then I'll be done with this part. That looks pretty good. Let's hope that it doesn't move. Let's see if maybe this one will come off a little bit easier. There's that one. Let's see if I can. There's that. This is the trickiest one. And it's much easier to do when you're not on camera. All right, so those there. Now the second strip that we cut was 3 3/4 by 5. And that was these right here. So we're going to do the same technique with these 2 pieces. Try to get that straight. All right, and now we'll see if we can't quickly. I'm keeping all my pieces together. There we go. One more. And then I'll show you how to assemble these cards. They are gorgeous. But then all the prints in this paper pack are beautiful. All right, now we'll set this aside. Okay, we'll pop this one out. Once you get this center one started, it usually comes out pretty easy. It's just getting it started. Painter's tape might be a little nuisance when trying to get them out, but it's nice that they're all the same and I don't have to worry about the two dies moving. All right, so there we go. Those are all our pieces. Then you're just going to assemble them back, but you need to mat them. So let me grab the mat. Now this is the Pale Papaya, and this is 4 1/4 by 11. All right. Sure that's straight. That looks good. I didn't have it scored, so it didn't fold as nice as I would hope. And then you have, I'm going to mat that on the Evening Evergreen. Isn't that gorgeous? And these pieces, this one here is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. This one is 3 1/8 by 4 1/2, and then this one is 2 3/8 by 3 3/4. I'll have the measurements on my video. Under where it should show more, you'll see the measurements. So now I'm going to just take those little frames that we created with those rectangle dies, and we're going to attach them to these Evening Evergreen pieces, like so. I like to use the liquid glue because then I can move the pieces around if I need to move them. Then you're going to put them back together. Just make sure that your prints are going in the right direction. That looks like the way that's supposed to go. Now you can pop up with dimensionals these pieces, or you can keep them flat. I am going to keep them flat because I'm going to pop the sentiment up on the front. I think this is just beautiful with that Evening Evergreen. That green is just striking. So I'm matching up my pattern from where I die cut it. Then this is going to be attached to the front of your card. So you can do different color combinations. Pull your colors from the designer series paper. Then I took the stamp set, which is the flowering tulips, and I took the sentiments, and on this one I just took the circle dies and the scallop circle dies, and we're just going to put that on the front like so. Now if you want to dress it up, pop a little bit, you can put some jewels. On this one I did the pale papaya ribbon. Just tied a double bow and put it on there like that. So the choice is yours. Decorate them how you will. Yes, I re-inked my evening evergreen, and boy did I add a little bit too much ink because it's kind of it's really dark and juicy now. So that was card number 1. You're going to do the same thing with all the other ones. Now this one is, let's see, this one right here. I'm going to change up, and I'm going to go with a white base. Like I said, you can change it up. You're going to attach your pieces just like you did. All right, there's that. So you're going to have this triple time technique. You're going to have 2 that are vertical and 2 that are horizontal. And then I got a couple other fun cards that are going to be all kind of different, not the same technique. Get this straight here. Isn't that fun? So pretty. All right, so here's my card base. Fold that. Again, this is the 4 1/4 by 11. And this is with white. All right, and on this one, let's see, what did I do? Just did another sentiment. You can pop up the white onto the green, or you can stick them all down and pop up so this pretty much the same as the last one, but like I said, feel free to add some ribbon. Make sure this is straight. So that's with the greens. Here I did it with the pumpkin pie mat and then the sentiment and stuff. So the choice, like I said, is yours. If you like the evening evergreen or the pumpkin pie, just pull them colors out of that designer series paper. So now we're going to do the 2 that are horizontal. And let's grab that. One is going to be the pale papaya. And the other one is, where did that go? Where are my cut pieces? I must have forgot one. Here it is. One is going to be a white base, the other one's going to be the pale papaya, and then we have our evergreen. I just kept with the evergreen on for the video, but the ones that I did beforehand, I did some with pumpkin pie, some with the evergreen, some with pale papaya. So mix and match whatever solid colors of cardstock that you would like to use. So you will definitely get the hang of this card just from watching me put it together so many times. But it is a very cool look. So if you like to make more, you can make more. This all attached. This side doesn't look like I got enough glue here. All right, there's one. We'll put this one together and then we'll put them to our card bases. Now you could probably do this technique with other shapes other than the rectangles, but I have not tried that. I would think it would work though. So again, you'll find all the dimensions, measurements for the cards, as well as the supply list for all the cards under the video under Show More. Okay, we are almost done with these. All right, so one is going to be on the pale papaya. And one is going to be on the white. Now for the inside, you can use the tulip stamp, stamp the little tulips on the inside. I have this one little strip that was left over. We're going to put that on the inside of this one. And we're just going to run that across the bottom like so. And then to decorate them, I have a label that I use from the Tasteful, I think it's Tasteful Labels dies. We're going to put that across like so. And we'll do the same with the other one. And then I'll show you how I step that up a bit. So we're going to put that one on there. Now you can add that pale papaya ribbon, run it across before you attach it down, and then tie a little bow so it's like that. And then this one I actually did in the pumpkin pie mat, so you can see that. But you can put some pumpkin pie jewels, you can put pearls, anything you want to do to step those up. All right, so now we're down to our other pieces here. This is from strip number 1. Strip number 1, I had 3 pieces that were 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, so that's that one there. The base is going to be the Evening Evergreen. And that's just going to get attached to the front. Actually, I attached it to a piece of white first. And that's going to get attached to the front. Then we had one little strip from strip number 2, and this is 2 by 3 3/4. We're going to flip that over. In fact, I did it the opposite way than I did on my card sample, so I guess you can do it either way. I'll show you the other way. So we're going to use the reverse side on this one. We're going to pop this up. I'm going to do this just a little bit different than my other sample. I think. We'll see once I get this attached. So we're going to put that across the center. Then I have a strip Happy Mother's Day. You can put that in the center. On my card sample, I did it here, but I did my paper the opposite way. So there you go. It can go in either direction. I'm going to put this in the center like so. And then I'll probably stamp a tulip or something and just add to that just a little bit. Just step that up. But that is your other card there. It's just the reverse sides of the paper. Now, let's see. This one here, this is cut 5 1/2 by 7 3/4 and scored at 4 1/4. So you're going to fold that just like that. You're going to take one of the side pieces from the third strip, 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. That's going to go across the front like so. But before I put that on there, I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen ribbon. And I'm going to bring this around. I want to keep that. And I want enough cut ribbon so that I can tie a bow. So I'm going to just bring that around kind of in the center here. And I'm going to just tie a bow. It doesn't have to be pretty. I just need it on there so that when I attach this piece, it will go over that ribbon. So we're going to center that just like that. Looks good. Now I can untie this, open it up. This is going to go on the inside. So you can stamp some tulips on here, stamp your sentiment for the inside. You can hand write on the inside, whatever you choose to do. And then I have another circle that I've stamped and then matted on a few other circles, and that is popped up with dimensionals. So that's going to go just like that. This will be tied. Just a little something different. Love this ribbon. It is just gorgeous. Now I'm not going to take the time to really play with that, but that's how that looks. All right, and the final card is a little bit different, and I will have to bring in the cut and emboss machine because this is going to be a buckle card. I don't know why I have that weight. So my card base is 5.5 by 7 3/4, so exactly the same size as the last card I just made. We're going to attach this to the front. Center that on there. I have this little strip of evening evergreen, and this is 1 3/4 by 3 1/2, scored at 1/2 inch. So we're going to fold that on that score line there, which makes it down to 3 inches. We're going to take that last little piece that we have left over and attach that to our arm, like so. Fold on that score line. This is our inside. We're going to take that arm, which is going to be our buckle, kind of center that. That looks good. So I'm going to flip this over, glue this down. Gotta hold that in place just for a second. You want that pretty secure. Now we can go ahead and attach this to the inside. Put some generous glue there. All right, we're going to bring that to the front. Now to make our little hole for our buckle, we're going to take this die here, and this is from the Tasteful Labels dies, and you can see how that will fit. So I want it to be about 1/2 inch. All right, so you can see that fits in there like that. I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. Pull that label or the place that. Make sure it's in the right spot. And you're going to run it through. I run it through and then I back up just to make sure that it cuts through all the layers. Remove that. All right, so now I'm going to carefully peel this off. And you can see how that fits nicely down in there like that. Then you're going to take a couple dimensionals, and I'm staying on this side of the die cut. I'll come in with my sentiment. Now I stamped it and then die cut it out with a couple circles and use a scallop die on that evening evergreen. We're going to take it's big enough so that it covers up my die cut piece there. Center that just like that. And there you have it. That is your buckle card. It opens like this, and it just slips nicely back down inside that slot, just like that. So that is your buckle card. That's card number 7. And then the card before that was this one with where we tied it on the side. And then we have the piece from the first section, and we flipped it over with the other little piece from another cut section. In fact, here we go. It's this little piece from the center piece is this right here, and then this was number 3, which was 3 3/4 by 5. And then you have your horizontal triple time cards. This one was matted on the pale papaya. This one's on basic white. And then we have our vertical pale papaya and white. Now the ones I did before the video, this one I did on pumpkin pie. So depending on what color you like, I kind of like that dark evening evergreen, but the choice is yours. This one I added a little pale papaya bow to it. The same with this triple time down that center triple. I did the pale papaya tied bow. So this one I matted on the pumpkin. There's lots that you can do. This is the one I did in the video where I flipped the papers in the opposite direction of my other one there. And then the tie, and then the buckle card. So those are your 7 cards for today's One Sheet Wonder. If you need any of the supplies, click on Show More under the video, and there will be a list of supplies that I used. Click on any of the list of those supplies, and it will bring you to my online store. There is a host code under there, as well as a direct link to my blog post that also has the measurements and the supplies that I used for today's One Sheet Wonder card. If you need anything, please hit me up. I appreciate any and all orders. If you are new to my YouTube channel, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, click on that button in the upper right-hand corner so that you know when I go live. That is a bell in the upper right-hand corner. That is it for today. Thanks for stopping by.